Mariners win 3-2. They improve to 74-56, and they sweep. They sweep the who did they sweep? Oh, the Kansas City Royals. That's right. I don't care who it was. They swept the series. I'm standing up, as you can tell. I'm going to pause this video so I can get comfortable, but I had to get this broom in here. Where's the pause button? Okay, yeah. Let's talk about how it happened now that I'm sitting down. This is still a little too high. There we go. Mariners get the first run on a Teoscar Hernandez homer in the second. Julio Rodriguez hits a home run that scores Josh Rojas to make it 3-0 in the fifth. Kansas City does get two with a 2-run homer by Nelson Velasquez, who was just becoming a Mariner killer in his short time. That makes it 3-2. Mariners hold on for the victory. And we'll talk about what that victory means in just a second, I promise. But first, let's thank the good people of Simply Seattle for sponsoring the show. Anything you're looking for Seattle sports related, be it Mariners, Sonics, Kraken, Seahawks, Sounders, Storm, anything, Huskies, Cougars, all of it available. They've got great hats. They've got great shirts. They've got great hoodies. They've got a bunch of, I just picked up a supersonic tumbler that I'm going to be using it a lot if I ever get to leave my house again. There is just a ton of great stuff. I say I can't recommend them enough. Too much in these videos probably, but it's true. I cannot recommend them enough. And I can't recommend using code MOLLYWAT15 enough either, because not only are you showing support for this show, you're showing support for my KJR show, which I do every Monday. Boy, is that going to be a fun one this week. And it's also going to save you 15% on your total order. That's MOLLYWAT15, MOLLYWHOP 15, and you can go to www.simplyseattle.com to use that code. So, if you're not familiar with a certain team called the Texas Rangers, about 15, maybe 10 minutes before the Seattle Mariners, it probably was less than that, not long before the Seattle Mariners completed their win, Michael Taylor, of all hitters, walks with the bases loaded to give Minnesota a 7-6 win. The Mariners win. So guess who is all alone in first place in the AL West? The Seattle Mariners are a game up on the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros for the division lead. Oh my gosh, I did not think we'd be saying that on August 27th. I didn't think we'd be saying that on any day this year. I completely wrote the division off. I'm so glad to be wrong. There's still work to be done, no question about it. But it's all to play for. It's all in front of you. Let's quickly talk about some negatives. JP Crawford and Cal Raleigh had tough games today. They both took a couple of decent at-bats, and that's kind of the theme I have for this game a little bit, other than the fact that I'm just so blessed. Or we're so blessed that this team, it's just fun. But they struggled. Cade Marlowe strikes out 3 times, but all 3 at-bats were good. This is what the thing was. So they only get 6 hits. They only score 3 runs. They strike out 12 times. But there were a ton of really good at-bats today. The results just weren't there. And after you score 15 runs the day before, that's going to happen. Sure, I would like to see them score more runs off of Alec Flippin Marsh and the Kansas City bullpen. Absolutely. But the process was good today. The results weren't there. And the other negative here is Gabe Speier struggled. It's hard to be too harsh on Gabe Speier. He's been so good this year. He was absolutely to give up some runs. I think my negative here is with Speier is not so much how Speier pitched. It's why Speier was pitching in the first place. And let's just get into the positive. Luis Castillo, oh my goodness gracious. As well, I think, as I've seen him pitch, he gives up a walk and a hit in a row. And I believe the 4th inning might have been the 3rd. Anyway, outside of that, dominant. The 6 strikeouts are not indicative at all of how well Castillo pitched in this game. And at 95 pitches, I get that you're not getting a complete game out of Luis Castillo. I would have given him another couple of batters. I think he earned it. And I think at 95, you're talking about, yeah, let's let him get into triple digits here and there. For those of you who complain about the lack of pitch counts, I'm sorry, that's just the way baseball works. And I get wanting to get him out with success, but I would have let him at least try to finish that 7th inning just because he looked so phenomenal. This is the Luis Castillo that we're hoping for down the stretch. And there's been obviously more good than bad from Castillo. He has a 3.01 ERA. The 11-7 record means nothing to me. There have been games where he's pitched fantastic and got a ton of run support. There's been some games where he's not pitched all that well and gotten a lot of run support. Or gotten too much run support. Too much run support. That doesn't exist. You know what I'm trying to say, folks. I'm excited. Your Seattle Mariners are in first place. Gosh dang it. He shoved. He was absolutely dominant. He took advantage of the extremely aggressive Kansas City lineup. But his stuff was so good. His command was impeccable. He loses it for one batter and then gives up that one hit. Like, he had no hit stuff. He had perfect game stuff today, folks. Absolutely did. Now, the results obviously tell you he didn't. He didn't get that perfect game. Didn't throw enough innings, and he gave up a couple base runners. But outside of 2 batters in a row, he was phenomenal. Great job by Justin Topa. That at bat, he didn't have his best command today, which actually has been true for a couple of appearances lately, but he still gets the job done. He still gets the job done. That at bat he had against Salvador Perez, where Perez was just going to swing at everything, he was fouling off the whole kitchen sink, the whole kit and caboodle. But he finally gets that strikeout, and he gets both of those guys after, runners on first, and he does give up a hit. So you had runners on first and third, and then a stolen base, so runners on second and third. So that was the game. Salvador Perez gets a hit there. It makes it 4-3, and the Mariners have to play comeback in the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th, maybe. But Topa gets that strikeout. I cannot say enough good things about Justin Topa. Cannot say enough good things. And Andres Munoz, you beast. That's what I want to see. Challenge those guys. Throw that heat, especially against a lineup like Kansas City. Go get them. That's the best I've seen Munoz pitch in a long time. That was flat out domination in a 3-2 game. In the game that can put you into first place. And yeah, it's August 27th. It's not September 27th. I still think there was a lot of pressure on Munoz there, and he more than lived up to the hype. Positives offensively, Julio Rodriguez. Another one. 22. This month of August for Julio, it's as good as I've ever seen a Mariner play over a full month. When you add in the defense, when you add in what he does on the bases, it's phenomenal. And that home run ended up being massive. It looked like today Kansas City wasn't going to get anything on the board. But they needed every one of those. They needed every one. And Teoscar Hernandez, he does strike out on a pitch that's estimated about 75 feet over his head. But he gets another couple hits. He scorches a home run to center field. Oh, what an August for him too. It's not a shame, but it'll get lost in the shuffle because of Julio being having one of the best Augusts ever. But Teoscar Hernandez has been absolutely just incredible this month. This has been him at his best, and thank goodness they don't trade him. Thank goodness. Josh Rojas gets on he only gets on once, but he took some good at-bats too. Again, the Mariners had good at-bats today. The results just weren't there. And thankfully, they didn't need them because Castillo, Topa, and Munoz were so gosh dang good. I'm having so much fun watching this team. And having, it would have been fun to do this channel last year. Don't get me wrong. Certainly. Imagine how fun the recap would have been after game 2 of imagine how fun it would have been to do the recap of game 2 of the Wild Card series and how excruciating it would have been to do game 1 of the ALDS and game 3 of the ALDS. Game 2, also not great. But imagine how the highs of highs that you would have doing the recap of game 2 and the lows of lows of doing game 1 just a couple days later. But this is a pretty darn good season to have it too. And I realize I plan on doing this for a long time, folks. I've said it before. I'm excited. I love doing RotoWire. I love doing Sportstopia now. I love Mollywatt Monday. I love all this stuff. I want this to be my career. I want that other stuff to be supplemental, and I want this to be my career. And I think I can make it happen. And in large part, it's because the support you guys have shown so early on has just been incredible. I know I talk about it way too much. It makes me sound like I'm like begging for subscribers, and a little bit I am. I've got to get to that 1,000 mark in order to make money. But it's been overwhelming how many of you have bought in so early. And I can't thank you enough. And I think one of the reasons it's easier to buy into this team is just how much fun they are and how fun they have been since that 80 game mark. They were 38-42, and they are now 36-14 since that mark. That's 50 games, guys. That's 50 games of playing over 700 baseball. And since that August mark, since they were 50-50, 24-6, that's 800 baseball on the dot. 4 out of 5. That's unheard of. I mean, it's not completely unheard of. Teams have been hotter for long, but it's amazing. And the way they're playing, it just looks so sustainable. They're going to have some frustrating losses. The Mariners are not going to finish the year 106-56. They're probably not going to win 100 games. It's be really hard to go 26-6 over the next 32. But they're right there for 95, 96, 97. And at this point, this is crazy. This is so crazy to think. The race for 90, a lot of people talked about it. The race for 90 wins. If you win 90 games now, you're a 500 baseball team over these next 32. That will be a massive disappointment. That's amazing. That's just simply amazing. What do we got tomorrow? I know it's Oakland. I don't know if they've announced a starter yet. Let's take a look. I am just absolutely shell-shocked. Nope. It's Brian Wu against something or someone. Advantage Wu, just because it's Oakland. You've got 3 games against Oakland. Then you got 3 games against the Mets and 3 games in Cincinnati. You got a 10-game road trip after these 3 games against Oakland. And 7 of them are tough. Cincinnati's right there. Tampa Bay, obviously, wild card 1. And it's just, you're absolutely watching the scoreboards now, folks. You're taking a look to see what's happening. Thank you, Guardians. We're not playing for the wild card, but it's a nice consolation prize that the Mariners get a little ground on that as well. And thank you, Twins. The good old shrimp. I don't remember why they call a walk-off walk a shrimp, but I don't care. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Oh, real quick. Somebody asked, I believe it was my buddy Bill, if I could start doing like a question and answer subscriber thing. Yeah, I'm going to try to do something like that. I'm still figuring out how that works. I know I can do it now because I have over the amount of viewing hours and a certain amount of subscribers. I can start doing subscriber based stuff. I just don't know how exactly it works, but I'm going to start figuring that out. And I will do my best. A lot of times I think you'll see that I hit the heart button on everybody's comments if I get to it, and assuming it's not something that's insane. But I don't always have time to answer those questions just because of how much stuff I got going on. But I really want to do something subscriber based where you guys can ask me questions and have like some live chat stuff. I'm working on it. I'm working on figuring out how that all works. But yeah, please hit like and subscribe. The last time I checked, we were at like 926. So 74 more. And a reminder, when we get to 1,000, somebody's winning this dang card. That is a valuable, 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 valuable card. And remember that you have to go to my greatest moments and to the greatest outfielder video and watch that and follow the subscriptions to win it. Follow the descriptions to win it. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a pretty cool one, I think. I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit and say it's very nice of me to do something like that. And it also shows you how much this means to me to get to that 1,000 mark. Sports Sometimes podcast, RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast, and most importantly, right now, folks, please subscribe to the Sportstopia Fantasy Fire and Ice podcast. We're 5 days a week. I know a lot of you won't be as interested in it, maybe as some other people around the country, because it's DFS, and unfortunately, that's not something we get to play in Seattle. But I still think it's valuable, and it would be supporting me, and support me, please. Really want this to work, and very excited to be with so many of my former Roto World people, including my boss. So, yeah. First place. Not tied. No half game crap. Seattle Mariners are in first place in the American League West in 2023. Let's go.